Good evening and welcome to this edition of In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WCTV Channel 11. We've changed things back to where the way In Focus normally is. There are no candidates here, nobody's running for anything, right?
No, I am president though, so I don't know how you want to feel about
Okay,
that.
but that's okay. We'll work that one out. Need to start by thanking some people. Steve Michael, who is here now and has been here throughout the entire election season, our volunteer of the year for the last couple of years, a gentleman who spends a great deal of time with us, helping us out, and helped us out a great deal during the election season. Steve, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate your time. Ryan, Sam, David, Paula, the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce, who were our partners with our In Focus candidate forums and election specials. Thank you all very much for all the work and time and effort that went into the election season. We go into 2017 without an election, so we're going to spend a number of weeks talking about a lot of different issues that surround and affect our community. As we get through the holiday season, it's going to be an on-again, off-again type of thing for us. We're on this week. Next week is Thanksgiving. I tried to get the staff to come in and do a live show, but they said something about being thankful about not seeing me for a couple of days, so we won't do a live show next week. We'll be back again on December 1st, off December 8th, and then back for a couple of shows to kind of head us into the holiday season. But we're going to start by talking about an organization that has a number of different pieces, parts, and has made a big impact in this community for a lot of years, the United Way of Whitewater Valley. We've got its president, Amber Willeford, who is going to be with me for the entire hour and will move people in and out of this next chair. So first of all, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. Looking forward to a great conversation about the United Way, its campaign, its impact on the community. Dana Sinclair, who is community coordinator for the NATCO Empowerment Center, is with us this evening. Thank you very much for being here. Why don't we start by having you tell us why the NATCO Empowerment Center is a part of the United Way and how that came to be about?
Well, sure. NATCO, first off, started seeing individuals coming in for loans and realizing that they weren't loans for family trips or home improvements, but rather back utilities and food and just trying to get loans to make ends meet. So they saw a need, and they found this program, Circles USA, as a matter of fact, back when Scott Quintel was here, so a couple presidents ago, and you know, they kind of joined forces to create the NATCO Empowerment Center, and bringing Circles of Whitewater Valley here to Wayne County.
What is Circles? Let's start with that.
All right, Circles is a nationwide movement to end poverty. And as simple as that isn't, it's that simple. Circles runs kind of a train on two rails. One rail is working with individuals that are highly motivated to change their lives, in bringing them support, in bringing them community, in bringing them education, in bringing them resources to change their life. That's one rail of our train. Okay. The second rail of our train is to bring community awareness to the realities of poverty. A lot of people, when you say the word poverty, they see homeless people. Mm-hmm. They see or think of individuals that have that entitlement mentality or are uneducated, lazy, you know, on and on and on. Right. When in actuality, the majority of people that live in poverty struggle and work very, very, very hard, sometimes 2 and 3 jobs, just to barely make ends meet.
Okay. Before we get deeper into that, let's start by saying, where are you located?
We are at 1627 East Main Street. Most people know us by the little green building beside the McDonald's with the play place, or the little green building beside the Mexican market. Okay. And we do a lot more at the Empowerment Center than just Circles, but we are the managing partner of Circles. Okay.
One of the things that people may know you from, there's a video that has been circulating for the last month or so. Mayor Dave Snow put it together. Job resources is what he was on there. One of the things that you were doing was talking about the job resources that you also handle. You're saying it's not just Circles, you do other things. What are some of those resources that are available to people in the community?
For
From
jobs
you.
Specifically, or any of our resources?
For jobs specifically.
Jobs specifically, we have computer bays that individuals in the community can access. They can do, write a resume. They can have help writing a resume. A lot of people come in and they're like, I'm not really good at typing. I'll sit down and type up their resume for them. With them, not for them, with them.
Okay.
And they can apply for things online. They can study. I've had people come in and they'll apply for a job and they have to take some sort of test. So they'll do that online and that kind of a thing. We also have a collection of clothes we call the career closet that is more interview appropriate. We don't have jeans, we don't have tennis shoes, things like that. The clothes are donated to us and we donate them back out to people that may have an interview, or maybe they've gone into a front office position that they've never had before and they just don't have the attire. And then we can also do practice interviewing, which is a little utilized because people are nervous anyway, so they get nervous about doing that. But if you are nervous about interviewing, come interview with me. I'm not the scary people. And so that you can talk to me and we can actually go over what did you do? Did you have that firm handshake? Did you look somebody in the eye? Did you have questions to ask? Did you do your research on that agency that you're applying for this job? Did you do all of these different things? And then they can come back again and we'll do another one and see the improvement.
Okay.
That kind of a thing. And I also think Circles is a great resource for people that are working. One of the things, you get a job that you have 90 days that you cannot miss. If you're part of the Circles community, you have an entire community of people around you.
Explain that.
What, the Circles community?
Explain the Circles community.
The Circles community, we have weekly meetings. And what our Circles community is the group that comes to those weekly meetings. And it is a group of individuals that want to support themselves and each other in their change. We have what we call circle leaders, which are our individuals that are highly motivated that want to change their lives. And they are called leaders on purpose because they lead their journey. I don't get to decide where they go. I don't get to decide how they go. I get to help them go on that journey. Okay. And then you have allies, and allies are individuals that are not in poverty that want to come in and be that intentional friend to that circle leader to help them as they walk that path and get that goal at the end.
I've listened to you for a couple of minutes. A couple of things you keep saying. They lead, they do, this person is a friend who helps them, and you talked about highly motivated people.
Yes.
How do you sustain those people?
Highly motivated people is probably one of our biggest challenges in finding. The things that we have done in the past, I will tell you, we have done flyers, we have had recruitment events, different things like that. Our best is word of mouth. A circle leader who knows somebody brings them in. Our circle leader that has actually graduated, I brought in because I used to be her boss. Our circle leader that I believe is going to be graduating next, my coworker brought in because they were friends. So it's that kind of a thing. But one of the big things that we're kind of doing a push to is doing some partnering with other agencies in the community, such as communities and schools, such as I'm hoping to get in at diplomas. Those kinds of places, partnering with Meridian or Centerstone Centerstone to get people that are already motivated to make that change and give them another layer of support.
What was it about this program, and I know it was started kind of before you've been there, but you've been here for a while, kind of watching in various hats, and as for the last, been a little over a year you've been president.
Right.
What is it about this program that keeps it a part of the United Way's mission?
Well, United Way's mission is to improve the lives of Wayne and Union County residents. And so what we're seeing is there's so many ways that we can do that. But primarily, individuals have to be motivated. And so the work that Dana and Tara are doing at the NATCO Empowerment Center falls right in line with that. How can we give a hand up, not necessarily a handout, but looking for ways to help people help themselves, and perhaps taking away some barriers that might make it otherwise what they would feel is impossible to do. For instance, she's mentioned the clothes. Something simple like that, right. You know, having appropriate clothes to go on a job interview, to some people might not seem like a barrier, but if, you know, trying to get that ball rolling, you don't have the money to go out and purchase clothes to look appropriate. So with the real focus on trying to help individuals improve their situation and climb out of poverty, I know we'll talk a little bit later about that, but it is an issue in our community that we're looking at.
A bigger issue, I think, than a lot of people know.
Yeah, almost nearly half of our community is just walking a financial tightrope and struggling to make ends meet, going paycheck to paycheck, and you know, no money for emergencies, or you know, if their car breaks down, then that trickle effect of the car's broken down, now I can't get to work, I'm going to lose my job, and you know, so it's been right in line with the way that United Way is moving.
How have you seen this program, or have you seen this program actually change people's lives? Are there success stories
absolutely.
from this?
I could give you tons of numbers. We do have one young lady who has graduated from the entire program, and she is no longer on food stamps. She has the first job that she's ever had where she can advance, where she has medical coverage, where she has the opportunity for a 401k. It has expanded her horizons greatly. I have probably had 7 out of 16 get new cars or a new place to live. The statistics, because all of our circle leaders fill out like a survey of sorts every 6 months. The statistics say that from them starting to graduation, then to 8 to 6 months out, their income is increasing over $300 a month. Now, that's the average. That's not the way it is for everybody.
Sure.
But that's a big thing. I have one young lady who is so dedicated to making a change in her life. She is a full-time student at IU East. She just got her very first job, and she is working 25 hours a week on the weekends and going to school full-time through the week. Very dedicated, has a plan to buy a car, is starting a savings account for that purpose. To see her light up as she talks about that is worth everything. And then it can be something as small as having a conversation about going to McDonald's and getting a pop. You go to McDonald's, you get a pop, it's $1, it's not a big deal. You go to McDonald's 20 days out of a month, that's $20.
Right.
That's gas in your car. And you don't think about that, but that's real.
You've mentioned the term graduated on a couple of different occasions, and when most of us think about graduate, we think about going through a process, whether it's 4 years of college or, you know, middle school or whatever. When you say graduated, you're talking about a longer term program than you're 30 days in, you're 30 days out.
Right.
Is that correct?
Absolutely.
What is the life of this particular program for most people?
This particular program is a minimum of about 22 months. There is a training piece in the beginning that is 15 weeks. And then at that point is when they move on into deciding if they want to be a circle leader. They are a circle leader for a minimum of 18 months. Some circle sites, we have people that have been circle leaders for over 2 years. Some circle sites have had people that it's been 3 and 4. It's very individualized based on what their need is and how ready they are to make the changes that they need to make, or that they want to make to get to where they want to go. Some of them have longer to travel. Some of them have shorter to travel. Some of them make those changes like this, and other ones, it takes time. And that's what I love about circles is it's okay, where are you and where do you want to be and how do you want to get there? And taking those steps together.
What does a person have to do to graduate? What is the measurement that they're ready to graduate?
Circles USA's measurement of graduation is 200% of poverty. Our measurement of graduation is, are you 200% of poverty and do you think you're ready? Because some people aren't ready to kind of let that go. And once you're part of circles, whether you graduate or whatever, you're always part of circles. I had circle leaders that actually moved to Kentucky. If for whatever reason that they would move back, come on. You are always part of circles, and we understand that people fall, they take steps back, but we also understand that we're here to support you in getting back up and taking another step.
We're down to our last couple of minutes, but before I let you go, one of the things that you do a few times a year, and I have one here, you ask the question and you send out a flyer, do you think you could live in poverty for a month? You run poverty simulations.
Yes.
Describe what those are for people that haven't gone through them, and do you have one that you've got scheduled coming up maybe sometime after the first of the year? What is that like for people?
What a poverty simulation is people are assigned a role of a family member, a pretend family in poverty, and they have to live 4 weeks, and our weeks last 15 minutes. And do all the things that we would all do in a month. You need to feed your family. You need to pay your bills. You need to go to work if you are assigned the role of somebody that works. If you're assigned somebody that goes to school, you have to go to school. You have to get gas for your car. You have to get bus passes. If you need medicine, you have to do that. All of the different things. And it is a very eye-opening experience to the realities of how much problem solving happens in poverty on a weekly, daily basis, on how much frustration happens from it. It is a huge, it's really funny because at the beginning of our poverty simulations, I blow a whistle, which is obnoxious, but I blow a whistle and everybody just moseys. They just kind of do their thing. By the beginning of that 4th week, they are standing up in their homes looking at me. Okay, is she going to blow that whistle? When is she going to go? Okay, I got to go. And they're off. And one of the things that somebody said in one of our very first poverty simulations was, I consider myself a very intelligent man. My intelligence did not prepare me for this. And I think that's very telling. We do not have a poverty simulation scheduled at this time. My guess would be probably sometime in February. If you are a Facebooker, look up the NATCO Community Empowerment Center on Facebook. It will be posted there. Okay. I honestly suggest that anybody who has never had the trauma of living in poverty go through one. It's a very eye-opening experience. I also always need volunteers to help man those because it takes a few people to do that. So if anybody wants to volunteer, I take those too.
What's your phone number?
It is...
Not your personal cell phone number.
It almost came out. It almost came out. 983-4764.
Okay. Dana Sinclair, Community Coordinator, NATCO Empowerment Center. The green building,
green building
near the McDonald's. There are a lot of reasons that people should stop in and see you, and hopefully they do. And you were part of the recent Wayne County Challenge Match grant.
Yes.
Hopefully that came out well for you.
It came out wonderfully. Thank you to everybody who donated. It was an amazing experience, and it brought me to tears.
Great. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
You're going to stay with us. I know
we
didn't let you talk a lot, but you all work with a lot of partners, and you're going to get your chance on the back half. And we're going to talk about More Than Words, another program that is a part of the United Way. After we take this break, you're watching In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WCTV, Channel 11.
NATCO Community Empowerment Center provides a vast array of free services to our community, including immediate needs resource referral services, a job readiness program that includes resume writing assistance, mock interviews, and access to our career closet, as well as financial counseling. The office is conveniently located at 1627 East Main Street in Richmond. Open by appointment Monday to Friday. To schedule your appointment, please call 983-4766.
Because there are dreams of what the future should look like. Because there are questions, but uncertain answers. Because there are basic needs not being met. Because physical activity should be a priority. Because every child deserves to read at or above grade level. Because you live united. A love of learning is developed. Youth value exercise. Needs are being met. Questions are being answered. Futures are no longer just dreams. Reaching out a hand to one and influencing the condition of all. Together, we can make a difference. Live united.
And welcome back to In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WCTV Channel 11. You're watching In Focus as we talk about the United Way of Whitewater Valley. The location is South 9th Street?
Yep, 129 South 9th Street.
Easy to find.
It is.
Lots of parking.
Lots of parking. That's one of the big things. I was like, the big community parking lot. Take your pick.
There you go. And talking about, first of all, some of the programs that are associated with, in one way or another, what the United Way does. And one of those programs is one that's been going on for 4 years?
Yeah, about 4 years now.
Okay, More Than Words. What's the idea behind More Than Words?
More Than Words came from some discussions around a table from the Education Vision Council several years ago. And we kept hearing some similar themes from youth-serving organizations, teachers, other people who work with kids a lot. And one of the themes that we heard was that we lack a common language, a common set of expectations across our community that everyone can get behind, that doesn't exclude anyone, that includes all kinds of people, and that we could use as a community-wide set of expectations. And through those conversations and discussions, More Than Words became a thing. And it's sort of grown in little different ways over the past 4 years since that moment.
It's grown in little ways, such as?
Well, when we began, we started with about 7 partners, 1 elementary school, 1 high school, and a few community partners who would try out maybe putting up the word in their place of business or adding an email signature or something like that. And now we have over 100 partners around Union and Wayne County. Oh. And we're in lots and lots of elementary schools and some middle and high schools as well, each month promoting the word and just resourcing teachers and parents and community members because our primary focus is adolescent responsibility, is helping kids have the best chance to graduate from high school. And you know, if you could describe what Dana talked about with what she does with the NATCO Empowerment Center as really drilling down to a specific problem and addressing very deeply that specific problem. This is kind of the opposite of that. This is the foundational layer, the very wide layer that goes underneath all these things that really, really important groups in our community, youth-serving organizations, and other groups get to do specifically with kids. We're that layer underneath that says, these are the important things we're all going to agree on, and then we can tackle specific problems in really direct, meaningful ways.
It manifests itself in different ways for different people at different ages.
Yeah.
When it starts off with the young people, the really young people, what does that look like for them?
Well, in preschools, we have posters, and instead of describing patience, for example, as something with a really long sentence to describe it, for preschoolers we say, I can wait. And we just teach them over that month that they can wait for things. And then it goes all the way through, you know, at Reed Hospital, they use it, for example, to describe to their internally to their employees and externally to the folks from the community that they see that these are important things, important ways that we should treat each other and that we should live out our lives in our community. And that means different things to adults than it means to kids.
Right.
But it's really interesting to watch that happen and to see how people internalize and interpret it. I just, this month is honor. Showing people that they're valuable by the way that you treat them and telling them what they do that is valuable to you. And so I have been going to schools this month and telling kids that, and they think that's a really fun word to talk about. And I just came from, just right before this, an event at the Northside Church of Christ Food Pantry. And when I told those people that we go to schools and we tell them that the kids are valuable, they applauded. Because it was so neat for them to hear something positive coming into the schools and talking to the kids and talking about how they're valuable. And so it was really neat to see an audience of adults that we don't normally stand in front of respond to that word in that way. Because kids just think it's fun and funny, but adults responded really differently.
You've seen this program grow a little bit through 4 years, so you've had a little bit of time, not a lot, but a little bit of time to kind of watch it. I know one of the things that the United Way has done has gone to kind of outcome-based funding. How are you seeing the outcomes of this program affect the community so far?
Well, in many different ways. For instance, when we first began, like Leslie said, there was approximately 7 partners, and that continues to grow. I almost want to say weekly. It feels like weekly. And they've not had one partner come out yet. They've continued with the programs. And as she said, there are over 100 community partners now. Some of the other ways that we see, especially as United Way starts transitioning, is finding ways to utilize the words in the community to kind of give back as well. And so one of my favorite things, I hope I'm not stealing your thunder here, but one of my favorite things was last year what happened, and will happen again this year, was the Construction Project. Construction, yes, it's fabulous. So basically the word was cooperation. And so students from different schools got together and they had to build structures. So if I leave anything out, you have to let me know, but they have to build structures. And so they had mentors from the community who would come and help them kind of think through the process, and they would build structures with canned food items. And there were some amazing structures.
A lava lamp.
There was a lava lamp. There was a Pac-Man. There was McNew Strong. There was
a giant football.
A giant football. Yeah, I mean, they had some great ideas. And so the students came together, and then they had a voting process for which Construction Project would get the Construction Trophy. And then at the end of the event, it was the next month. And so the next month's word was hope. And so everyone who attended the event got together, tore down the constructions, and the food was then donated back to a food pantry in the community, so giving hope back to the community. So, and that's just one of the examples. More Than Words, I know, did kind of like a backpack. I'm going to let you talk a little bit about this, but backpack with gloves and hats last winter, and was just such a huge success with that. So
yeah. So the idea is that we use the word as a catalyst to show how kids and adults can contribute back to the community or become a part of the community. So it becomes sort of holistic, and we want them to know and be able to say the word and understand it and describe it, but then we also want them to live it out. So we try to find ways to give examples, organized examples of what it would look like to live these things out. So the Construction event was a really fun way to do that last year, and we'll be doing it again this year in January. But, you know, partnering with a student at Hibbard Middle School who had been collecting hats and coats and gloves and giving them to those in need through communities and schools, we were able to provide backpacks and then help in his efforts. And he doubled what he normally collects because folks just felt like that was important to contribute to. And so we let him keep doing what he does, but just supported him in his efforts and showed compassion, which was the word, in that way. And so we just try to find ways. Existing events in the community are the best because what we really want is for all the partners to find ways for it to fit organically with what they're already doing. So instead of adding one more layer that feels out of place or feels different, allowing each organization to use it in a way that feels natural, either to their internal constituents or their external constituents, is the best way to do it. And then when we can find ways to use the word and have people empowered to give back to the community, it's really the best form of what we're able to do each month.
And you're able to touch not just the kids, but adults, teachers. As teachers are now, I assume, used to this word rolling out every month and it being used, how are they getting the support, the understanding to know how to help move this process along?
Well, it manifests itself differently everywhere you go, but we have really great supportive teachers who have sort of owned this themselves. And I'll get a call. Last week I got a call from a teacher who said, I know you're coming for the assembly Friday. My class made a video to honor the teachers in the building. Can we play the video during the assembly? Which is a really great way for her students to take that on and to do something in in their school themselves. But the teachers use it in a lot of different ways. And we just resource them, and when they have a need, we try to meet that need and help them to be really the first line of communicating this with kids. But then we work with communities and schools and send home packets to families of students who work with communities and schools so that it's going home to their families as well. And then events like tonight where we're able to be in front of adults who interact with kids and explaining to them why it's important and why we come to their schools and do these fun assemblies for their kids, it helps that too.
And this is something that, and it's the United Way, Wayne and Union County. So this stretches both of those particular counties. More Than Words down in Union County, and are you seeing some of the same things happening there?
Yeah, it's just getting off the ground in Union County, but it's really exciting. An administrator in the Union County School District previously was at Northeastern and saw it work there and was really excited about the program when he was at Northeastern. And when he took a new job at Union County, he took it with him. And so we've been working with them for about 4 or 5 months to really get that going in Union County. And it has been met with a lot of excitement and support. And so we're looking for ways to further develop it there, but it's kind of exciting to see. And that particular school is a middle school, which isn't usually the starting point for something like this, right. But it's really neat that those kids are taking it on and getting it started there.
Has it taken on or taken off well with the high school students? Because that's where people would say sometimes it's easy to get the little kids to do it.
Yeah.
But as they get older, those words, those foundational words, may be a little harder to reach out to them. How are you seeing this play in the high schools?
Yeah. So we began More Than Words 4 years ago, but before that it actually started at Richmond High School. It was our first testing ground, was with a group of students at Richmond High School. And it's taken on different forms in the years as things with high school students do. Sure. But they've done some really interesting and exciting things with the word. The way it works there is instead of a teacher delivering a lecture or a lesson to the students, a group of students gets together and they decide how to share the word with the students around them. So we're revamping it this year. The schedule has changed at the high school, and so we're looking at some different ways to gather students together. But in the past few years, they've done things like Greta Tweets, which were paper tweets that we printed out, and they could write people that they were grateful for and why. And we posted hundreds of those around the building at eye level so that they could walk by and see their names or other names that they had written on there. And really simple things like that. It works we actually have a project that's going to be happening next week, and we've found that in the cafeteria it helps very much if you offer a piece of candy for them to come up and participate in the activity. I know. Stickers and candy.
Works.
Right, I know. So they're going to have an opportunity to honor a teacher that has been meaningful to them and for this month, and they did that last year as well, and it was meaningful for the students and the teachers to have an opportunity to get to share that with their teachers. So the Student Council is going to be doing that for the month of honor next week.
Nice. There is, we're down to our last couple of minutes here. This time keeps
I
slipping
know,
by pretty
it's
quickly. Just started last week here. Just tell us about the Big Idea Experience, which is a program that will be airing on WETV, Channel 20, Friday nights at 8 p.m. You're the one who kind of brought this into the party a little bit.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of preview of what this is all about.
So this is really exciting. Phillips Drugs has stepped alongside us and is supporting and sponsoring this for us. Richmond, Wayne County, Union County is the only community that uses more than words the way that we use it. But there is a community in Wichita, Kansas that does something similar. Theirs is much more school-based and not community-based, but they put on school assemblies similar to what we do, and they also produce videos that go with those. And so we're going to be able to, on WETV, share these videos that go along with our words each month that include some puppetry and some funny things, and it's Saturday morning style TV that we'll be able to share that show kids and adults enjoying the value word and learning about it, and we're just really excited that we were able to do that.
Are you still looking for more partners to be involved in More Than Words, and are there areas of the community, areas of the county that maybe you haven't hit as well as you would like?
Yeah, I would say all areas of the county would be really great. We don't want this to stay too centric in one particular area, but we would love it to be wherever there are kids and their parents, we would love them to see the word. So it's completely free for anyone to be a partner. You can contact me through the United Way office, and the simplest way to be a partner is you get an email from me every month that gives the packet of information that you need to be able to display it in your place of business or share it via email through your staff meetings or things like that. I would say if you think that your business or organization isn't one that would be appropriate, it probably is the most appropriate. I think that the ones that are the least obvious connection are the ones that are the most exciting for me to get to come in and talk to people and find those connections and say, you really do, you have influence over families in our community, and we'd love to be a part of that influence and be talking to kids and families about things that are really important.
Nice. Leslie Bolser, program coordinator, whatever title you want to put, pusher of words and big ideas.
Pusher of words and big ideas.
There you go.
I'll put that on my card.
For the More Than Words program. Thanks for spending some time and catching us up on this program, which has been around, again, not too long, 4 years,
Yeah.
and hopefully it'll continue to flourish and grow.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for being here. We've got a video
Yes.
that as we let Leslie go out and bring Denny Burns, a board member, in, that we're going to kind of play as opposed to some public service announcements. Give us an idea. Is this your campaign video for the year? What brought this about?
This is our campaign video this year. It's kind of opening the gate to our transition, basically focusing on what the community would like to see changed. We kind of got an idea of utilizing whiteboards at the end of the video. The beginning of the video is sharing an experience of a young lady who was in the Circles program, as we were discussing with Dana Sinclair earlier. And then at the end of the video is just asking people to be on board for change, and what does that look like to them. And so, as United Way begins this transition, things are going to change a little bit. And what are the most important things in our community that need to be changed? And the best thing to do is go out and ask the community. And so that's what we're doing.
So here's that ask, and we'll be back on the other side of this video.
We hear the situation often. A family falls behind because they can't pay a medical bill, can't afford to fix their vehicle to get to and from work, can't take a higher paying job because then they lose their assistance. These daily occurrences begin to spiral into hard times that is difficult to overcome. Nearly 50% of our neighbors are either struggling to make ends meet or cannot afford the most basic of necessities. Heather Gabbard understands the struggle all too well, and that's why she's on board for change.
I grew up in poverty. I had, my mother was an injured, disabled vet, and my father just bounced around from job to job, so we were always struggling. But as I got a little older, I was about 14 whenever I found out I was pregnant. Right after high school, I started over at IU East, and I worked part-time where I met Dana Sinclair, which is the coach of Circles of Whitewater Valley. So a poverty simulation is when they take situations of what the average family might look like that is struggling with poverty, and they set up little booths, and you have it kind of just simulates what a month of living in poverty is like, and it helps bring that awareness to what people who are living and struggling in poverty every day have to go through every day. But when I was at a poverty simulation with her, I got a pretend family that mirrored my own, and it caused me to have a breakdown. And she realized, you know what, Heather, the best fit for you isn't childcare. The best fit for you is going to be a circle leader. I want you to be a circle leader. And so after some talking, we decided that it would be best for me to be a circle leader. And so that's where I started the 15-week journey to become a circle leader. You start with circle leader training, and for 15 weeks they teach you how to dress appropriately for an interview, make a budget, and build that plan to make it out of poverty. Because with the circles, Whitewater Valley, it's not, we're going to tell you how you're going to get out of poverty. You come up with a plan to bring yourself out of poverty. So through my connections in the social capital I was able to gain through circles of Whitewater Valley, I was able to get better employment where I make more than minimum wage. I have benefits, I have vacation days, sick days, and I'm able to have a savings account, and I'm able to go on vacations with my family now. Without the circles of Whitewater Valley and the support that we get from United Way of Whitewater Valley, we were able to come from this spot of just struggling and barely making our rent payment each month, barely being able to keep the heat on in the wintertime, to thriving and surviving. I'm on board for change, and here's why. How about you?
Hashtag on board for change.
Yes,
What
sir.
type of changes are the United Way going through now, or what type of changes, or transition is the word that you've used, do you foresee? And we're joined by Denny Burns, who is a board member for the United Way of Whitewater Valley and has been for a number of years now.
I don't know how long, but I was actually in the basement of the Chamber of Commerce before we made the move to the new building, so it's probably been 9 years.
So you've seen a lot of changes in this organization in how they do what they do, from the thermometer going away to the vision councils coming in to very specific ideas and programs being targeted as opposed to agencies being targeted for funding. Is that more of the change that you're talking about getting to with this organization now?
Well, basically what we're looking at right now is through the Indiana Association of United Ways, we were provided statistics of our community as they've done for all of the communities in Indiana. And as we review those statistics, we found that there is a specific target demographic that weighs heavy in our community, and those are individuals who are working, but maybe walking that financial tightrope and living paycheck to paycheck. And like I mentioned earlier, perhaps a medical bill is the beginning of that spiral. They can't pay the medical bill, or their car breaks down and now they're not able to get to work, or how do they even pay for that new tire or new engine. And as we started looking at that, we identified that having these people who are motivated to improve their situation, but just kind of needing a hand up. So United Way is looking at the numbers. 24% of Wayne County and 26% of Union County fall within that realm of really just walking that financial tightrope. Another 10% in Union County and 18% in Wayne County are already in poverty. And so we are looking at nearly half of our neighbors who could benefit from some sort of hand up. And because of that, United Way started identifying this is some place that we need to be able to answer to. How can we help? And with that, we have created the HUG initiative. So giving our community a hug. What does that stand for? I could tell that was the next question, right?
I don't even, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to get that look on my face and just let you read the question. Yes, what is that?
Well, HUG stands for Hand Up Guidance. So really looking for ways that we can help individuals overcome those barriers that perhaps is either going to put them in poverty or that's keeping them in poverty. And so as we begin this transition, we're looking at a 3-year transition for this. We're doing a lot of research. We're utilizing the data that's been given through the Indiana Association of United Ways and their ALICE report. We're utilizing local data, information from Circles USA, also other data that's been collected from, for instance, Reed Hospital and their focus groups, as well as national data on what are those barriers and how can we help. And so we're at the beginning stages of that. We have completed a survey. We had great response to the survey, but that's only the beginning of it because, as you know, any survey is just kind of opening up that box of more questions.
Right.
So we're moving into our second phase of collecting data. We'll be utilizing focus groups. Basically, we are partnering with Earlham College to help do so, and we're going to look at approximately 5 different focus groups of individuals who are in our target demographic. And then with that, each of those focus groups will have approximately 10 individuals who can help us answer some questions of, how can we help? What are your biggest challenges? What do you worry about the most? And then we're going to take it a step further. We're also going to have focus groups with local CEOs because as employers, we want to hear, what are they up against as far as hiring people, or people calling off because their child care provider is sick or because, their car broke down. So we want to hear from that aspect as well. And then finally, we're going to be meeting with our nonprofits and, asking them, this is what our target demographic has stated are some of their concerns. How are you seeing that in your everyday work? And what are some of the ways that you might be able to fill that need? So
you've got to see this in 2 ways almost. Obviously, a board member of this organization, but also as a Wayne County Commissioner, where you know how this impacts jobs, economic development that can come to this community if we've got these kind of poverty numbers. That affects what you might be able to bring in as potential employers or potential employers that would even look at our area. Plus, you're talking about an organization that's not necessarily coming to the government looking for them to fund this.
So we came to them. Absolutely, you're right. That segment of our society, we need them desperately. There's jobs unfilled that need to be filled, and like Amber said, the reason that they can't work is sometimes as simple as my car broke down. And if we could come up with some way that removed that obstacle, I believe that opportunities would open up for many people. Not just the car, but there's child care issues.
Sure.
There's lots of things that could happen. And as you can see, Amber's passionate about this. And one of the nice things about being on her board, and you were on her board for many years too, Eric, so you already know this, that the wisest thing we did was hire Amber. She's one of a large number of remarkably talented women that we have here in Wayne County that have taken these organizations and done something very positive, and she's making a change. She's changing the United Way. We're doing things that we've never done before. Change is always uncomfortable. A lot of people don't like that. But what she's done is nothing short of remarkable.
Well, people were resistant to the change at the beginning when the vision councils came
Absolutely.
in. And how will this transition affect those particular vision councils? Education, youth and families, health and community vitality. That's what you've been focused on for the last few years. How will this transition affect those groups? Will there be changes within those names, those groups that focus?
Well, United Way, as a national whole, focuses heavily on health, education, and income. And so, you know, of course, we're going to try to stay true to those areas. We have the vision councils in place already, so we'll definitely be utilizing, as we call them, the experts in the field. So we definitely still need them. We're going to utilize their information, you know, the HUG steering committee. As we start developing really what we're going to be focusing on, we'll be meeting with the vision councils. We'll be getting their input. And so we're going to be working very tightly in our vision councils as we always have. So, you know, that's something too. I know that whenever someone hears transition or change, everything kind of is like, oh, what does that mean? Now what? And can you tell me? And you know, the biggest thing that we're up against is I would love to have all the answers right now. I would love to know in 3 years, this is exactly where we're going to be, and this is going to be this is what it's going to look like. And, you know, but I've just had to get used to saying, we're just not there yet. We're making progress. And, you know, so we're changing a little bit each year. Okay. As I said, we've looked at a 3-year transition, making sure that we're being very respectful to ways that we've always done things. We are now going to hold 2 funding cycles. So we still run our one campaign, but we're going to hold back a portion of campaign each year to dedicate towards this initiative. And we'll still have our traditional funding cycle over the next 3 years that focus on our 4 main areas, as they always have. And then in the summer, we'll have our second funding cycle, which will be able to utilize a portion of the campaign and really focus on that HUG initiative and what those barriers are. And we'll probably break off only a little slice of it in that first year, and really see how we can start answering to it.
How did the board react to this initiative when it was first brought to them, and the idea of making this switch, and their reaction to the numbers?
Fortunately, we have a young board, a board that hasn't been doing this for a long time, so they were not so tied into the old allocation way we used to do it, where we took all of our money and we gave a little bit to everyone. And Amber's right, the outcomes were never there when you did it that way. Now that we began to focus and actually not only identify real problems and put our money into an area where we were reasonably sure we could create a positive outcome, that energized the board, because now the board sees that we really are making a difference. And that's the kind of board they want to be on. So do I.
And that's probably what the United Way really is all about, being able to truly make a difference in the community, not making changes so fast, and not knowing where you're going to end up at the end, even though there's always a certain amount of uncertainty with that. Sure. You mentioned that you trying to stay true to some things. Before we went on the air, you were talking about there's a number of people who remember the thermometers that used to be out around town when I first came to town. You've got a thermometer for people to see. Let's tell them where they can find that.
Okay, well, on our Facebook page, and we're new to Twitter, thanks to my communications team this year.
There you go.
Yes, I'm learning all about tweeting. And so on our Facebook page, I am trying to recreate the thermometer. So kind of keeping our community aware of where we are in campaign. We're only a couple weeks in at this point. We usually kick off in middle to end of October, and then most of the campaigns will start rolling in after Thanksgiving to middle part of December. So I have found a way with videos, they're called scribe videos, like whiteboard videos, that we can color in that thermometer as it's going up and put encouraging messages on there and let people know how to send their donation in. So that's on our Facebook page.
You always have a kind of lead organization or lead business. Who's your lead business?
Our pace setter this year is Wolverine Worldwide.
And they have been wonderful.
They have.
They're new to our community, and they've just embraced not only us, but 4-H programs.
Yes.
Just the things they've done are, if we had 50 companies like them, we could solve a lot of problems.
The campaign will stretch through when?
Well, the campaign generally goes through March 31st.
Okay.
And yes, we are in our office right down to the end of the day, March 31st, making sure that we can get all of the donations in that's possible. Most of them, because they're employee-run campaigns and businesses, will start hammering in right before January 1st because they do the payroll deduction, which is always nice. And so we'll see the majority of the campaigns finished out before January 1st, but we do run all the way to March 31st. February is our last big push for campaign when we do our small business blitz. And just reach out to local businesses that may not have large employee base but would still be interested in participating in the United Way.
If there's somebody that hasn't been touched, because I know you've got a relatively small staff, you're not able to hit every organization, every business in the community. If there's a business owner that's watching this that said, you know what, maybe we haven't done the United Way thing for a few years, I like what I'm hearing, how can they find you?
Well, they can give us a call, 962-2700. They can stop in our office. Our office address is 129 South 9th Street. Send me an email or go to our website, givetheunitedway.com. It's a very long name, but I'm always very sure to enunciate when I say that. But yeah, it is a .com, so it's givetheunitedway.com. And all of the information that they would need is on our website as well.
Great. Amber, I appreciate you being here. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
all that
having
you've done
us.
for the United Way while you've been there.
Thank you.
You have been a spark for it.
Oh, well, thank
yes.
you.
Without a doubt.
We're fortunate.
And Denny Burns, board member for the United Way.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you being here, and hopefully we'll have you back and continue to update what the United Way is doing, how this transition is going, and particularly how you're making an impact in the community. I think that's what people are looking for, is those outcome-based ideas for where their money is going.
Absolutely.
As I mentioned a little bit earlier, we are going to be taking a little bit of time off next week, Thanksgiving, so we will not be having a program. We will be back on December 1st. Wayne County Commissioner Ken Poust and Steve Higginbotham from the Wayne County, what is his title?
Planning Director.
Planning Director will be here talking about wind energy that may or may not be coming to the area. They're trying to get information out. We'll take another week off, and then we'll have Mayor Dave Snow, Bruce Whistle, Pete Zaleski, and Ken Poust back, having them for a 90-minute in focus. So we hope you have a very great Thanksgiving. You can see this program in replays beginning tonight at 10:30. Good night.
Hi, I'm Allison Zeidel, host of Environmentally Speaking. Join us next time when we visit Miller Farm at Earlham College to learn about their sustainable agricultural practices.
The Boys and Girls Club, we have a relationship with them and a plot out here with them.
Great.
So there's people out here a lot of
that's
times.
so cool. That's so cool. So let's talk about the actual plot. So we'll We hope you'll join us on Wednesday evenings at 6:30 on Channel 11 WGTV.
You are watching Whitewater Government Television, Channel 11.